Hi, this is Miss B, your trusty organizer, and we are here to talk about narratives. What are they and how do I write one? So our success criteria today is that I can tell someone in my house what a narrative means, maybe give a synonym or something. And then I can tell my teacher 4 things a narrative should have. It should have lots of things, but see if you can remember 4. And then I can use a graphic organizer to plan and write a narrative. So what is a narrative? A narrative is something that tells a story. The story could be real as a nonfiction, or it could be fiction, which is a story with made up characters and events. But what the difference is between a narrative and say an informational essay or a paragraph is that a narrative is telling us something from beginning to end in order. That whatever it's telling us could be real, like in fictional or nonfiction history, where we learn about a character during a period of time, a little snapshot in history, and it's from the beginning of that time to the end of that time. Or it could be something totally made up, like some of the novels that you like to read, but it has to be connected. Where an informational essay isn't always connected, it's just giving you facts and information about a topic. Okay, so we're gonna look at fictional narratives. Fictional narratives should have a beginning, a middle, and an end. It should be in order, first, next, last. There should be a plot. That's what is happening in your story. How is it happening? Why is it happening? There should be a problem, a solution, that means it's solved, S-O-L for solved, and a resolution. So we see the word solution here, solving, or resolve, like resolve. Have you ever resolved a problem? That means you fix it. And then fictional narrative should have characters. That's the who in your story. They could be people, they could be animals, they could be made up creatures. They could be flowers. And then it should have some dialogue. That's talking and emotions. So we know how people are feeling and what they're saying in a story. It's like watching a movie. What if you watched a movie where people didn't talk at all? You could probably figure out what's going on, but it wouldn't be as exciting. And then our fictional narrative needs to have a setting. We need to know when the story took place and where the story took place. It needs to have a place and a time. So narratives follow a pattern. There's a beginning of the narrative, and that's where you're kind of introducing who are the characters, where is it taking place, what's going on. You get to know the people. And then as you get to know the people, you get to figure out, ooh, what's going on in the story. And that's the rising action. You're starting to figure out, hey, there's something going on. Maybe there's a problem in this story. And your action is building up to that problem. And then there's a problem. What's going on in the story? What's the big thing that's happening in the story? And the climax of the story is when, whew, the problem happens and whoa, what are we gonna do about it? How are the characters responding? And then there's a solution. That tells us how did the characters respond? What are they doing to solve that problem? And sometimes problems are good. Sometimes they're bad. Sometimes the solution is not so good. There might be a little twist in the story. Sometimes it's not what you think. And then there's the resolution. What did they learn? How did they come to fix it? So the problem has been solved. How did they feel about it? Did they learn anything? Okay, so let's take a look at this. Here's an example of a personal narrative. And that's a narrative that somebody writes about their life. So here we have our introduction. The girl in the story is talking about some advice that her grandpa gave her, that if you laugh at your own mistakes, then it's not as embarrassing. Everybody will laugh along with you. And then there's the rise, and so she's talking about a little bit about what's going to happen, and then she goes into rising action. She's kind of also setting up the setting. It happens at school during lunch. All of her friends are there. She's in line. She really wants pizza. She's hoping there's pizza. It's her favorite food. It doesn't look like there's any pizza. She's kind of disappointed, but then out of the corner of her eye, she sees some pizza and she's really excited. And then, oh, the problem. She gets that piece of pizza, but she's not holding her plate very well, and the pizza slides off into a big pile of mashed potatoes, because the lunch lady is the kind of lunch lady that gives you your pizza or gives you mashed potatoes out of a big dish. And it slips right into that big dish of mashed potatoes, and there the pizza is sitting, and she's getting really embarrassed, and she's feeling her face turning red. What a problem. But then there's a solution. She's thinking about what her grandpa said. And the lunch lady seemed like a really nice lunch lady. She said, well, do you want some mashed potatoes with your pizza? And so she smiled and she played along with it, and she said, well, of course. And then all of her friends kind of started laughing too. And then there's the resolution. The problem has been solved, and she feels a lot better. And she thought that she never believed what her grandpa said about if you laugh at yourself, your friends will laugh. But she said, yep, that's what happened. And it made me feel good instead of just clumsy. So let's plan a narrative. Let's see how we can do this. First, we need to have a problem. We can't write a story if we don't really know what we're going to write about, what the problem is. So the problem that I'm going to write about is I am going to pretend that I'm in 5th grade and I'm stuck inside during my quarantine and I'm bored and I miss my friend. And then let's give some details about setting. Where does it take place? It's in my house. It's June 2025, one day before the governor says that we're free to go outside. And in there's me, my 5-year-old. I'm 5 years older than today, so it happens in the future. My mom and dad are there, my big sister and my little brother, and my best friend, Sana. And so that's kind of a little bit of information to help us write the beginning of our story. And then our rising action is that it's been 5 years and we've been stuck in our house, and mom and dad are being really, trying to be really good, but it's boring. They're trying to help us with school and think of fun games, but I always end up fighting with my brother and my sister, and I really miss my friend Sana. But my parents keep saying, don't worry, everything will be fine soon. And then the big problem, OMG, I just Zoomed with my best friend Sana, and she said she was moving in 2 weeks. Now my life is really horrible, and I'm stuck in this house, and I can't hang out with my best friend before she leaves. And then the solution. My mom and dad said I could still Zoom with her, but then the governor came onto the TV and said that next week we would be able to go outside, and we would be able to see other people and hang out with other people. And so I made plans with Sana, and I was able to spend time with her before she left. And then the resolution was that we got to hang out a ton, and we planned some sleepovers when she moved to her new house, which was about an hour away, and that I should listen to my parents when they say everything should be fine. And then I came up with a title, and my title was I'm Getting Out. And I thought of a title that might be kind of sounding interesting and mysterious, like people are wondering, what's this going to be about? So if you looked at my planner, think about, did it have all the story elements? Did I have characters in it? Did I have feelings? Did you know how I was feeling? I was kind of angry. I was kind of sad. I was happy when I found out I could see my best friend. I said when it was happening, it was in the future. It was in June. It was at my house. Did I have a plot? Was there a beginning, a middle, and an end in my story? Yeah, it followed that mountain. Did it have a problem? Yes. Did it have a solution? Yep, check. I am all organized. Woo! So when we go to write this onto a piece of paper, we want to make sure we kind of add a little bit more descriptive words, and so we can picture it in our head, and a little more dialogue, a little more talking back and forth, because our plan is just our ideas. When we put it on paper, we want to add to our ideas and make them sound more like a movie with words and description. Okay, so let's turn our our plan into a story. I just wrote 1 page of the story because I skipped lines so I could go back and edit. And so it doesn't have the whole entire mountain, but you'll be able to see that how my story is moving up the mountain this way. So here's my problem. There's my title right there. And so I'm going to stick to this problem, and that's what my story is going to be about. So I start off with some dialogue because I start out with something that sounds kind of interesting because it's called a hook. We want people to read that first sentence or two and wonder, what's the story going to be about? Something exciting. And maybe they want to read more then. So this quarantine stuff is getting old, I thought, as I was looking outside on a sunny June day. Oh, there's part of my setting. It's 2025 and we have been quarantined for 5 years. Oh, that's part of my setting kind of too. That's a long time to be stuck inside with my mom, dad, my big and little sisters, or I changed it there. So that tells me who the characters are in my story. So look, the first part is just kind of giving a setting, a place, and the characters so we know what's going on. They're nice most of the time, but my sisters and I always seem to argue. My mom and dad try their best to help with the school and to make up games and keep us happy. The worst thing is I haven't seen my friend Sana. My parents say, don't worry, everything will be fine soon. So that's taking this and putting it here on my story. I added a little bit and I changed the order a little bit, but it's taking this idea and writing it in my story. And then next, I would go into my climax and then my solution and my resolution. So that's just a quick little lesson on how to organize your narrative and what a narrative is. So let's think about our success criteria. Can you tell someone in your house what a narrative means? Can you tell your teacher 4 things a narrative should have in it? Plot, beginning, middle, end, speaking, dialogue, setting, characters. Can you use a graphic organizer to plan and write your narrative and to start putting it on a piece of paper? If you say, yay, then go ahead, write that story. If you're kind of in the middle, you can keep watching this video and write a little bit and then press pause and then write a little bit more and press pause to see if that helps. If you just really don't get it, you can call your teacher, you can text, you can Zoom, you can call me, text, Zoom, Miss Opie. Any of us will be glad to help you. I hope this helps you on your way to writing a fabulous story. Bye.